Good morning, good afternoon. It
Good
is
morning.
Beauty Mind webinar time, which means that we're going to align things for this week. Make sure that we're checking in on each other, growing this network, growing this just this new lifestyle to elevate and everything. And we're actually in Vancouver right now.
Yes, we are in Vancouver. You guys can't see what we see, but we have the whole view of the city outside the window. It's beautiful views.
Yes, and we are partnering with West Coast Beauty for our Beauty Business Masterclass. We have a 2-day event here, and yeah, we're just super excited to meet a lot of new salon owners and stylists and a lot of beauty professionals.
Yeah, and we're talking about success with brand partnerships today, which goes completely in line with how we ended up here in Vancouver teaching this 2-day event.
Yeah, so yeah, but before we get into that, I think the main thing that we've been hearing and talking about as we've been kind of jamming on ideas with West Coast Beauty, as obviously we've been having conversations with beauty professionals all over, is like, what is this new version of yourself that's going to be able to elevate things? How can we make these tough decisions to, cut off some ties with some people or distance ourselves from different people to ensure that as we understand the new tools and the new mindset shift and just this new way of life, that we're actually going to be able to like
It
rise
wants
to
you to
the
give thumbs
occasion.
up so bad. It loves everything you're
It
saying.
does. It does. Thanks, AI. But yeah, so what are these tough decisions that we need to make? Wow, now you're thumbs upping?
Oh, is that
Uh,
what it is?
I
Is it
think
because I'm
so.
like this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay
Let me
like
just
that.
make this. But yeah, so like it's not going to happen until you're ready for it to happen, and that's a interesting thing about just our lives and the design of life. These times where we crumble and things don't work out, maybe we're not ready for them at that time. So what are some things in your life, or like when do you feel like the shifts happened for you that you became like the person that actually could acquire the success that you desired?
I think that really just having so much responsibility on my plate and having so many things that I needed to make sure got done and got completed, whether it was at work or home, it just requires you to cut people out of your life who don't understand
Hmm.
that that needs to be done or that you need to handle things. There was a time, oh gosh, this was years ago, probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe 10 years. Yeah, I guess more like 10 years ago. And I lost a few friends that I just didn't get it. They just didn't get where I was at in my life and my career. And
Hmm.
so it wasn't awful like a fallout or anything. It was just we just drifted apart because I had to handle certain things that they didn't always understand I had to handle. I couldn't always just drop everything and go hang out in the middle of the day and do brunch and all those things that I wanted to do. Maybe I was a little jealous I couldn't do them at the time, but I was on a different path and I didn't live the corporate life like they lived. So I wasn't in that 9 to 5 lifestyle where I got to leave everything at work and go home at 5 o'clock. And on top of that, I had kids. So I just had a completely different lifestyle than them. And I think that's when I really started to realize what do I want out of life? And I have to let people go in order to have that. And in order to achieve the things I wanted to achieve, handle the things I wanted to handle. And my business was growing. So I needed people who could support me in that. And that's just kind of when I started realizing like sometimes you just lose people.
Yeah, and as
It's not a
you
bad thing. You just lose them.
yeah, it's a great thing. I love losing people, and I love when they're upset at me and they're like, "What do you mean you can't come to this thing?" It's like, yeah, I don't do that anymore because as you evolve into this new version of yourself, you're not going to prioritize these things that don't serve you anymore because you're going to realize that maybe you're not operating at that frequency anymore. Your frequency is higher now, and it's not a way of saying that I'm better than you. It's just this new chapter of life, and once we redesign our life moving forward, then and we really understand that and we're willing to upset people, then the world continues to open up. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that in our business, but I love seeing it in the people we're working with and mentoring and seeing them, at first push against like, well, no, I still want to be able to do this kind of stuff. And we're very direct and specific, like, no, you can't do these things. And once they finally are sick of spinning their wheels and realizing, oh wait, I do need that extra time to actually put into my business or into my brand or into myself to develop to the person that I need to become. Once they cut that off and then put that extra time, that is the extra time that they needed to then elevate. And I just love seeing people figure that out. And because you can tell people all day, but not until they realize it themselves and make those decisions, then everything changes. And it's not a like I told you so moment. It's a proud moment of like,
Mhm.
welcome.
Yeah.
Let's continue after it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is after I started going to events, which again, right in line with the brand partnership conversation we're having today, once I started, excuse me, going out of my comfort zone, going to events with people who were doing much bigger things than I was doing and people that were on a much higher level than I was on and talking business at a much deeper level than I was ever talking business. Once I started going and becoming a part of that conversation, it's really hard to go back and be a part of the small conversations that people were having, in my like past circle or the people that I used to run with. So it's just like you can't morph back into that. You don't fit anymore into that conversation because your brain has expanded and your hopes and dreams and wishes and just your way of thinking has expanded. So that also had a big pivotal moment for me. Like I just didn't fit into those small-minded conversations anymore. There's a quote that says something like, hang out with people who talk about their goals and dreams, not other people. And I think that just really, that was exactly what happened. I no longer could gossip. I no longer could chat about the small things that everybody was doing and why they were doing it and be so obsessed with other people's lives and what's going on in people's personal lives because I was so on such a higher frequency,
Hmm.
talking about bigger things, things that I really wanted and how I could achieve those things and just bigger dreams. I didn't fit into that conversation anymore.
Yeah, you got to be a little delusional, start thinking about these bigger things. And that's the only way we can get there. And, for us, a lot of our brand partnerships, I mean, you've had a brand partnership with, like Kevin Murphy and those people, the brands that you have in your salons. And now as we're growing with more conversations with distributors and, so many other different things. So let's dive into the brand partnerships. Have you always had a strong relationship with the brands that you worked with at the salons, or was this something
No,
that came a little bit later?
no, this came later. So we have been open for about, well, 16 or 17 years now. I think we're
Yeah.
going on our 17th year. Pretty sure June will be our 17th anniversary. Anyways, so we've been in business for a while, and we started off as your typical salon. I don't want to say typical salon, but like a lot of salons, I feel just have a bunch of different brands. You walk in, you can buy whatever. There's no really loyalty to what they have in their salon. That was us. So you could walk in and you could just buy one of like, I don't know, probably six different brands we had. And we had tools from all different places and accessories from all different places and just walls full of product. And there was really no loyalty. We worked with one distributor, popular distributor, and that's where we got all our stuff. And if somebody walked into our business and said, "Do you want to try this product?" We'd be like, "Sure." And we'd order 12 of them and we'd pop that on our shelf too. And then
Hmm.
we'd go to the beauty supply and find something there that might be fun to sell. And that was kind of our goal at the time, was to have so many different brands. Actually, I remember we went to LA to visit you and there was a store called Largemont Beauty Supply. And when you go in there, you can buy anything under the sun. And we were like, this is amazing. This is like hair heaven. Like, let's be just like this. So that was kind of our goal, was to have everything that you could possibly want. But what happens then is you don't really have strong relationships with any of those brands. You just have the products. So your reason for selling it is because the product either works or people desire, different changing up their products and things like that, or just to give people a lot of options. I don't know. And so over the first probably, I think it was like 4 years of business, that's when someone came to us with Kevin Murphy. And we loved the look of the product. We had saw it in some of the magazines. I'm totally dating myself because magazines were really big back then. But we fell in love with the product itself, more so the way it looked, and wanted to try it. Loved how the product performed, brought on the line. We still had a lot of other products as well. And so we just made space for it. But very quickly it took over. And it didn't take over because it performed well, although it did. It took over because our relationship with the brand was strong. So the people behind the brand made us sell more of the product, and the support that we got made us more enthusiastic about the product. So it really came down to the relationship we had with the company rather than the performance of the product. And like I said, the performance of the product is amazing, but before we could even try it, we knew we loved everything about it. So that's kind of when I started to realize like brand loyalty or brand partnerships and the relationships you have with the people behind the brand are really important. However, those first few years of carrying Kevin Murphy in our salon, it was with a distributor who eventually was bought out. And so our relationship with that distributor wasn't strong, but our relationship with the people behind Kevin Murphy was strong. The people
Mhm.
that would come into our salon and teach us about the product and stuff, they were great people. The relationship we have with the distributor wasn't as strong until the distributor that has it now took over. And they really, I think, were the first time I really realized, it became very apparent what relationships in this industry mean, because our relationship with them, and it's Premier Beauty Supply, so if you're in the Midwest you may know who they are. um, it's an incredible relationship we have with them, and the support and the people behind the brand. So that's when that whole experience of changing into Kevin Murphy and then becoming better partners with the distributor, that's when I realized like these other brands could never give us this support.
Mhm.
So that's really like my first experience on like a strong brand partnership. And that's when we started to filter the other brands out of our company and bring on, just a more loyal brand, more smaller brands that we could be more loyal to. So Kevin Murphy, Love in Australia. That's kind of where the direction we went.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Ro at West Coast Beauty yesterday, and when people come to to them and to figure out what brands they want to carry, they go through a process of asking them questions to really understand what each of them finds value in, or what they, who they are and what's important to them, so that way they can match them with the right brand. I think that was so cool, just because the longevity of having something on your shelves and the products that you use that align with who you are, what you do, what you find important in this life. That's going to create longevity in your partnership, because you're going to have so much synergy with that brand and what they're about. And I love knowing the people behind the brand. It just makes all of the difference in the world. And I think, from this initial standpoint, when you found these relationships with the brands that you were holding in your salons now and filtering out the other ones, then these started opening up new doors for you as well.
Yeah. So at the time, I was still doing hair full time. I was actually in the beginning stages of falling into a leadership role at our salon. So I was just becoming the decision maker, I guess you could say, in a lot of different ways. And so our relationship with our distributor that ended up taking over grew stronger and stronger, and our support that we got from our reps. So it was just amazing. So our rep at the time, I think it probably changed a few times, but one of our reps just, I mean, we were a strong partner. We sold a lot of product. So you get invitations to things that, you wouldn't get if you had a bunch of different brands and people weren't buying one specific brand from you. So I just developed this amazing relationship with my rep. And I think that in the beauty industry, we can be very like annoyed when people come in trying to sell us things or talk to us about certain products or education. And it can be very much, I've heard from other salons, especially independent salons, where there's no like front desk ready to have that conversation, or a manager on site or an owner on site ready to have that conversation. The stylists are all busy. They can't walk away from a client. And a rep comes in and they're like, just leave us whatever you have, just leave it at the desk or set up a meeting. We need a meeting. I've had a lot of salon owners that we work with say, I can't stand when these reps come in. I want them to set up a meeting with me. And I just can't tell you how much I cannot relate to that. Of course, I don't want random reps coming in to sell me stuff, but when my rep comes in, she and I, we talk, we chat. I don't work with clients anymore, but if I was with a client back when I was doing hair, I would welcome her over and introduce her to my client and let her know that this is who I get, my products from. And they would start chatting, and it was very a welcoming experience. And so they never felt intimidated coming into my business, and they were allowed to walk around my salon and talk to my team. And talk to our clients. And sometimes our clients would fall into conversations with them and learn so much because they know the product so well. And so it was like they were actually like a part of our team. They're part of us. They're why we do why we're able to do what we do and get education and things like that. So we've always been very welcoming of that. And my rep back, so this is going back a few years from where we are now. Uh, the rep that was selling us our products that we were using, Kevin Murphy, 11 Australia, and a few other products that we would carry from them. She invited me to an event. She's like, I have this dinner. It's all the top salons. It's, anyone who sold a certain amount of product is allowed to come to this event. It's very exclusive in Chicago. And I was like, sure, I'll go. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but all I knew was it was dinner in Chicago and
I think
a flight was included.
I think a lot of people don't realize what the possibilities are that these things even exist
Yeah.
at that stage.
Yeah. And so I was just like, say less. I get to fly to Chicago for a day and have some dinner and hang out with people in the industry. That sounds amazing. So I went, and I can't tell you how much that dinner changed my life. I had just backed away from doing hair, I think like 2 or 3 weeks prior. So I stopped doing hair March of 2022. Yeah, I think 2022. And this was in either the end of March or beginning of April, somewhere around there. And just had the most incredible time. The most incredible conversations came from it. I was probably in a really big transitional phase that I just didn't even realize I was in because I had stopped doing hair and was shifting my mindset to launch a coaching business, but I wasn't there yet. So going on this trip not only introduced me to the owners of Kevin Murphy, which was an amazing and incredible experience, but it also then led me to go to the show that was coming up, which I wasn't going to go to because I didn't really know a whole lot about it. And so I hadn't had a lot of conversations around if I was going to go or not. But once I went to this event, it was like, okay, are you going to this? Next thing you know, I'm going to Austin to this huge hair show where I ended up meeting my first coaching client. And now going to, last year also led to like us going to Budapest last year where we met West Coast Beauty, who we're now coaching or doing this coaching event in Vancouver. I mean, like everything stemmed from a dinner invitation that my rep gave me. And it's just insane, not to mention I had just gotten over a sickness. So I was like, I don't even know if I can go. And I'm like trying to get better. And over the course of like 4 days, just trying to do whatever I could to make sure I was going to be in good condition to go. There were so many things that could have gotten in the way of me going. And I just made it happen. And it completely changed my life. And I already had those good partnerships. I already had that good relationship that led to the invitation itself. But then just going, and it opened a whole new world for me. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful, but it makes me so sad that people don't have these relationships with the brands.
Yeah.
And they tend to use products that are popular or that everyone else is using and, our clients already know and they've heard of. So they, or maybe they're just scared to change. And you got to get out of that mindset. If you're a business that is using, and I know this to be true because I was this, and I had a team that was this, you have this color line that you've had for forever and you're really comfortable with it and you know how it works. So you use it and you don't want to piss off your team. So you keep it, even though you kind of, don't really feel aligned with it anymore. Maybe it doesn't, maybe the ingredients don't align with your beliefs and maybe you don't really even like the product that much. Maybe you're not even that impressed by it, but it's so popular and you feel so comfortable with it and you know what to expect results wise and you know all the formulas. That's not what it's about. All the products work if you use them right. All of the brands have great things about them. It's the people behind the brands that is why you should be carrying them in your salon or not. So if you don't have those relationships, if you don't have those conversations with the brands that you're using and you don't have that support with the brands that you're using, get them out of your salon. Get them out and partner with brands that give you the time of day, that make you feel supported and that open doors for you and get you inspired and motivated and excited. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, because at this day and age too, with the need for social media, a lot of what we talk about is providing value, and a lot of your value is going to start on the internet talking about these products. And if you are passionate about them and you believe in them and you know everything about them and you know everything about the team, right? There's just like this through line of sincerity and authenticity that starts from the brand, goes to through you and your business, and then out into the world on social media. And if you're talking about these products in whatever way to educate people or to inform them about, new releases, they're going to register in their mind as they're watching if you're being authentically yourself and truthful. So if you really are passionate about them, you might not even know that much about the brands, and maybe, like she said, you're just holding them because they are popular or what have you. You need to change your mindset around that, and look at them and understand if this is representing you in the best way, because we want, from your branding to the experience to the products you use, everything should align with how you view the world and what's important to you. And maybe you don't even know what's important to you. So you need to take a step back and figure that out, and then align everything in your business with that. So that way, as you're speaking about all of this stuff on social media, people find it to be true. And see, I'm struggling my phone. You find it to be true, but also that it's good for them, and that they're going to be using this for years to come. And once we do that, the sale starts on social media, and then by the time they come in, then you're going to get the product, and they're going to stick with you and always buy the product from you. Thumbs up. And yeah, so I think that's so important too, that maybe a lot of people don't understand what they find important in this world based on the products that they're using, and they need to do some like deep dives within themselves first.
Yeah, and if you do have a salon team, if you're a salon owner and you have a salon team, there are going to be times where your team comes to you and says like, "Oh, can we try this stuff?" Or, this product just came out and all my clients have been asking if we're going to carry it and all that. And yes, there's times where it might be a good idea to try something or bring something on. But don't be so obsessed with what's trending. Trends change. It's Kevin Murphy's been around for a really long time, so there's been some newer brands that have come to, the game the last couple of years that tons of salons are bringing on. And I have no desire to try something new, because what we have with E11 Australia and Kevin Murphy is so spot on with our brand. I don't need to bring on what's trending. It's everybody has their time to trend.
Yeah.
And so it needs to make sense for your brand. You can't be always trying to please everyone by what's trending on the internet, or your team bringing like, "Oh, can we get this? Can we get this?" It's like, I remember one time, this is years ago, but I had a team member come up to me and say, "Hey, this lightener is really popular on TikTok right now. Can we try it? Can we get it in?" And I was like, respectfully, no. Like, I don't care what's trending. I don't need the internet to tell me, or my clients tell me like, "Oh, do you have this?" I am a professional and I have reason to use the brands that I use, and it aligns perfectly. I don't have that desire or that temptation to try other things, because I'm so sure that what we're using fits perfectly in line with our brand. So there's a lot of temptation on the internet to try new products or try new things, try new color lines. And it's just, you have to block all that out and get really specific with what you want. It is great to change things up, but not because other people are telling you you should. It needs to make sense. There needs to be a structure behind that. And it's funny, like my rep that I was talking about that invited me to that dinner, she had ended up leaving the company and having a baby, and now she's actually working with 11 Australia. And her and I became really close friends because we worked together so much, had so many business conversations. We just like totally clicked and became such good friends. And so now we're working together still in the beauty industry, but at a different capacity. And now I have a new rep that came in. She's not new anymore. This is years ago that this change happened. But when we got our new rep, I was like, she's going to be my, my new best friend too, because the way I work, the way that we work at our salon is we make sure that partnership is strong. We don't want them to feel unwelcomed. We don't want them to feel like they can't come in anytime they want. So when she started, immediately was like, hey, like, come on in, like, let's chat. And we also clicked right away. It's because we're so welcoming and we want that relationship. So I just really encourage you all to just really seek that. Really give them the time of day. They want to help you. They work in the line of work that they're in to support salons. They want to help you. They want to help you be more successful and have some support. So you have to welcome that. You're not going to get that if you don't build that relationship. And that's where the partnership becomes strong or not.
Yeah, and initially, when you make these tough decisions and you understand what your mission and your vision is of the future, you might even take a couple steps back, lose a couple people if that's the case.
Which happened.
Yeah, which happened to you. So, but that allowed you to take a step back, but then launch forward, and it gives you the longevity that you desire because it's not about this short-term success or short-term downfall or losing something within that. If you could adjust and realign, then the sky's the limit in the future. But if you're afraid and you're operating from like a fearful standpoint, then you can't align for longevity. And I think that's what's so important. And like based on the people that you said that worked at the companies, right? The companies and the brands that have a strong mission and vision that aligns with you, then hire people that align with those missions and visions, which then now is the bridge to the brand from your strong mission and vision. And once you have that consistency throughout, then more opportunities can present themselves because you're just so aligned. And that's what we're trying to find alignment in everything we do. So,
Yeah, there was a time where I realized like I'm getting all these opportunities, but I want to extend them to my team. And occasionally I'd be able to bring a team member to something and things like that. But the conversations and the meetings were usually me. And so of course I felt strong about the brand. I'm getting all this love, so I wanted to be able to pass that on to my team. And that's when our distributor, Premier, shout out Premier, getting a lot of love today.
mhm.
They hosted a event and I got my team to go. It was a 4-hour drive, I think, for us. So we all carpooled out there, got the team an Airbnb and went to this event. And because we brought, I think it was like 18 people that we brought to the event, they were so grateful. They were like, what are you doing after the show? Like, we want to take you guys out to dinner. And just gave my team such a fun time, gave them so much love. The educators who were teaching the event joined us for dinner. They want that love too. They want to be able to feel that connection and that support too. So it was really awesome for me to be able to extend that to my team and just give them a little taste of like why we are doing what we do, why we are with the brands that we're with. Of course, they love the products. Of course, they have seen, what the brands have done for us and the education and things like that. But when they get to go to something, to an event, and they get that extra love and that appreciation for so much support for selling the product and becoming a part of the brand and all of that, they also, it's a no-brainer for them as well. But I want to go back to when I mentioned that I lost people because so I had already been using the 2 brands that we carry in our salon. I had already been using them for years. The products were already in our salon for years. We had already filtered all the other brands that didn't align with our brand. We had already filtered those out of the salon. When you walk in our salons, you would see the 2 brands that we use and you would know like this is our jam. So we got rid of all that chaos and all that confusion, all that brand loyalty confusion when you walk in the building. But on our back end, we still had a product line that was very popular and very comfortable for us. So when we started thinking we should probably switch color lines, which was about, I think now would be about 8 years ago, if I remember correctly. I only had one salon. I had 20 people all under one roof. And I want to tell the story because I think so many people feel this way, but they're too scared. So I'm going to tell you my story and how I was scared and how I overcome it. So we had, all these people under one roof. And I just started realizing, like, why do we have this color line when we could have something else? Right around this time, Kevin Murphy launched their color line. And later on, 11 Australia launched theirs as well. So we were wanting to switch. But at the time, it was just Kevin Murphy launched theirs. And I thought, duh, we'll definitely bring out this color line. It just launched. It's modern. It's cool. It's amazing ingredients. And I thought, no brainer, like, let's bring it in. So we had a class for our salon. We had all 18 to 20, however many people we had come to the class, and everyone loved it. But after the class, I got so much pushback. It was like, oh my gosh, are we getting rid of this too? Like, wait, what? No, we need those toners. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be, I don't want to switch. And just so much pushback from my team. I thought, fine, keep it, keep the stuff you already have. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Even though I knew in my heart we needed to have our color line match what was on the front end. We needed it to not only match, but the purpose to match and the value to match.
Mhm.
And so I just said, forget it. I don't even want to worry about it. Let's not switch. Years later is when our partnership really grew with the brand. Like I said, 11 Australia also launched their color line. So I started, I think we actually brought on, if I remember correctly, the 11 Australia toners first. They actually used my salon because of our partnership was so strong with them. They actually used our salon to test their liquid demi color. So they sent us the whole line, and they were like, try it, let us know what you think about it, and had me on a panel to talk to people all over the country about what I thought about the product. So that was a really cool experience. Another thing that came from strong brand partnerships. So we brought that on first. And then sometime around then is when I went to the Kevin Murphy show in Austin and really still wanted to switch up our permanent color. Just really, really, really wanted to switch it, but didn't want to ruffle any feathers. And now at this time, I have two salons that I'd be switching, not just one, but two. And so I go to the show and I'm sitting at this table, and they sat us like front row with this huge show with thousands and thousands of people. And here I'm getting this amazing experience. And everyone at my table, there's probably 12 people at my table, and they're all talking about the color line. And I'm just kind of sitting there scratching my head, not participating in the conversation because I don't have the color line. And somebody said, "What do you think of their blondes?" I think it was. And I said, "Oh, I don't have the color line." And they all looked at me cross-eyed, like, "What?" Because now they're seeing me at the show, they're seeing my partnership with the brand, they're seeing how involved I am. They're like, "Why don't you have the color?" And I felt so small. I felt like I am trying to fit into this box to please people who are operating out of fear rather than spreading my wings and bringing on this amazing color line and helping everyone else get out of their comfort zone as well. So when I got back to Michigan, I literally within 3 days had our entire salon switched over. I said, get this color out of here. We're bringing on the full Kevin Murphy line. So now we have Kevin Murphy and 11 Australia color. And I just was like, get them out. And so we did. We swapped both salons. We swapped thousands of color boxes and tubes or bottles out and brought on a new color line. And within a week, I lost 3 people. I think that day I probably lost two. I almost lost two more, but they decided to stay. And now one of them is a color educator, a color key for Kevin Murphy. And she swears by this color and won't shut up about it. So it just shows how sometimes you just need to be pushed out of your comfort zone, and you might lose some people and it sucks, but you will keep your people. You will keep your people, and you will find your people as well, because so many people come to our salon looking for, PPD free color or ammonia free color. And we now have that because we took that risk, because we found something that aligned with our brand a little more. So it took me 7 years to make that change and to really just stop operating out of fear when it came to our color. And I cannot tell you how it was the best decision ever. And I remember calling Premier, actually, I keep hitting this thing. I remember calling Premier and saying, listen, my goal this year is to put my loyalty front and back end into this partnership. So let's make it happen. And that's what we did.
Yeah, yeah. In this life, no matter what you're doing, you can never just stay stagnant. And
Do not operate out of
you're
fear.
operating out of fear because you don't want to lose somebody. You're not going to eventually attract all of the people that are meant to come to you. So
Yeah.
you can best gauge what that's going to actually look like and try not to lose these people and convince them that this is the way to go. But at the end of the day, you don't want them there anyways if they're operating out of fear is going to make you operate out of fear because you're going to stunt your growth in
It
the
just
long
holds you
run.
back. Yeah. One of the people that I lost had been with us for, it was their 10th year. And I did not want to lose that person.
Yeah.
But
They were comfortable. You want to play, you want to operate, you want to be comfortable like they're comfortable? I don't.
no.
So yeah, that's just such a true testament to just the game as like as a whole and finding longevity in this life and playing the long game and not looking at these small little moments that are just holding you back and like pulling you down. Once you like finally cut that, this pullback eventually is going to launch you to have the biggest career and the best career that you can have and be surrounded by all of the other people that think like you. And especially with this day and age where the food, the products we use are so much trash and everything that's consuming us because of every the corruption that's happened in a lot of these industries. And now that we're becoming wise to it all and everybody else is, how can we continue pushing forward and do what's best if we're so worried about the short term and we want to keep the money and keep the people and don't want to upset them, upset the right people. You want to upset the people that you want to upset because the future is so much brighter with having consistency and doing what's best and what's best for everyone versus what's maybe best for the short-term comfortability for these people that are working with you on your team.
Yeah, and I'm obviously so passionate about our partnerships. I know that not everyone around the world has the relationship with their distributor that we thankfully have, but it isn't a one-way street. You can't expect your distributor to pour into you if you're not giving them, like I said, that welcoming atmosphere, or giving them the time of day. So what I would do is just encourage you to, if you're not getting that support from the brands that you use or the brand that you use, to seek that. I see in a lot of different salon owner groups, people asking about, how do you find out about education, or how do I find out about this? And how do you get invited to these things as far as like classes and events? And a lot of people always chime in and say, your distributor should be giving this to you. Your rep should be providing this for you. And I know not everywhere, especially in the US, like not every state has strong support or enough reps to cover the area. So it does depend where you're at. But I have really great relationships all over the world when it comes to distributors. So if this is you and you're just like, how do I find this level of support? Definitely reach out to me because I bet I could help. Um, whether you want to know what brands we use, which I've just shared with you, or, what brands are available in your area or what distributors are available in your area that you'll get this level of support from, like definitely reach out because I can definitely help and put you in the right direction.
Absolutely. Such an important message. And yeah, go the extra mile. Be the one to reach out. And if you can't figure it out, hit us up and we'll align you with them properly.
Yes, let's get your salon the support that it needs.
Yes. All right. Amazing. Well, we are lining up some more events in the future. We'll be back to our Monday Beauty Mind this coming, well, not this coming Monday, but next week, Monday. And yeah, any final words, Allison?
No, I think that's it. Just build those relationships.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. And until then, peace.